And so gravity for one, if you talk to the high priests of scientism like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye, and everyone else, gravity is a theory. And it's such a crappy theory. 96% of it is made up with dark matter and dark energy, which has never been seen, never been tested, but they theorize that it's real because gravity doesn't work without it. Well, it doesn't work with it either. So I'm with you. If I had a handful of ping pong balls and marbles and I held them in the air over a pool and I dropped them, they're both going to fall through the air because they're more dense than the air. The ping pong balls are going to sit on top of the water because they're less dense than the water, and the marbles are going to go to the bottom because they're more dense. So the question is, what makes things go down? We live in this free energy system. I don't know if you guys have looked into free energy, but it's a real thing. The sun and the moon are the cathode and anode of the Earth battery. The salt water, not the fresh water, carries the current. Salt water carries electricity. And the land is the salt bridge of the battery. So the Earth does not move at all. It has a negative charge to it. That's not a theory. It has a testable negative charge to it. And there's voltage in the air. When you leave the Earth, a meter off the ground, there's 100 volts. 2 meters off the ground, there's 200 volts. And it goes up from there. And we believe that there's a dome over us, which has the positive. Now, a lot of this is like, well, this is too much for me. This is how a battery works. So that negative charge, it's a incoherent electrical charge, and it attracts things. It's a very weak force, super weak force, just like they say gravity is a weak force, and it attracts things to it, right? So so how can we prove that? Because first thing is, every test for mass attracting mass has failed. They have one called I don't know, I forget, it was these two giant lead balls in a barn. Globers don't even use that as an excuse anymore because it's just flawed on so many purposes. But here's the thing, a tinfoil triangle, when we put an electric charge into it, it goes up. As soon as that electrical charge is more than the Earth's electrical charge, it repels from the Earth. Okay? So it's electromagnetism that establishes the down, and the relative buoyancy and density sort everything else out.
Howdy y'all, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at John Weis. John Weis was a balloonist and an aeronautical engineer, or a professor of aeronautics from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And he lived throughout the 1800s, and he made a lot of advancements in air travel via the balloon. He was one of the first and the most famous Americans to make discoveries in this field, and we're going to be reading an excerpt from his self-written book about aeronautics and about his life. This is going to be in regards to the idea of harnessing electrical atmospheric energy, and he is arguing that he was the first scientist or balloonist or engineer to propose this idea, and he goes into detail about the letters that he wrote with the director of the Smithsonian in regards to these developments. So we're just going to dive into this a little bit, and then we'll talk a little more about John Weis and his other developments at the end of the video. And this is in reference to harnessing electrical energy with balloons. In the fall of 1857, I wrote to Professor Henry, secretary of the Smithsonian Institute, about it, and my wish of having it tried with a large balloon that would go a mile or two high, with metallic tractors and conducting wire to bring it down to Earth. September 26, 1857,